If the apocalypse is coming, why are you not retardmaxx? That's the question I have for you today, and I know how it may sound, but at least try to hear me out. I've lived enough life to understand that when they tell you that the world is ending, it's most likely not gonna end. I was born in 97, and I wasn't old enough to understand the hysteria, but they thought the world was gonna end in 2000 when the clock changed. They thought the world was gonna end in 2012 because of the Mayans, and there's probably been like 50 other times since 2012 that they thought that the rapture was going to happen. And we're still here to tell the tales of the nothing that ever happens. And that's not to say that the world that you're used to or grew up in is not changing. I mean, the structures that we definitely have are kind of going through a time of reinvention, and it would be dumb to say that there's not a shift happening. But a full-on collapse, an apocalyptic event, I don't think anybody is really smart enough to predict that, even though they keep trying to. And there's a certain set of people that understand this and have operated with the idea that life will continue. And I say that these are the people that are actually winning. I'm not even talking about just solely monetary, but more so in the sense of mental and personal growth. They choose to not operate with low energy, even though the world and the cards seem stacked against them. They understand that blocking out the noise is the only way to move forward. And this is not saying that those people are apathetic or they just don't care about the world around them. They are heavily concerned about the world that they operate in, and they do want to see meaningful change. That's why they don't let this feeling of hopelessness consume them, this ever pending doom that we're always told is just right around the corner. And I'm not saying this to hope pill or blue pill, because I understand that the noise is very loud right now. You have the government releasing the alien life files. We're getting reports that the hantavirus that was on the cruise ship has now spread to multiple countries because there's people who were in contact with it. The debt to GDP in America at the moment is the worst it's ever been since 1946. And I'm not saying that any of that doesn't matter, but what I'm saying is, what does that do to you? When you read a headline that does nothing but reinforce how insignificant you feel in this world, what action does that produce? Because the ones that are releasing these headlines and putting the doom into the air know exactly what it's going to do, and they're hoping that their plan is correct. When you're consumed by a fear of what's going to happen, you either give up all your autonomy for safety, or you get so much paralysis from what could happen that you never make the next move in your own life. And when you get to that stage, you do nothing but spend more time on these platforms. You allow more fear to grow in your chest, and in turn, you put more money in their pockets. And this hits close to home because my past career was working in TV production. I worked in central casting, 24-hour newsrooms, all the way from CNN to Fox News. And when you're on the inside, you hear these calls made in real time. You hear the people behind the scenes trying to maximize suffering and fear. And when you see how well organized this plan of fear mongering and keeping you at this low energy is, it makes you disgusted. I've spoke about how I did not like my job for the hours and just how meaningless it felt, but I have not spoken on just how emotionally damaging working in the news or TV production is. On top of just being super replaceable because you're working in TV and everybody wants to work in media, you see how people don't really view others as human. They don't care about the toll that this news will take on them, how repeated news cycles of the worst things happening in your local area can warp the perspective of the community that's affected by it. Their job is to never give you a solution or any type of hope. It's to make sure that we don't find a solution and rather a common enemy. Any form of solution or hope would end the revenue system. Your panic, your confusion, the doom scrolling you do in your bed in the late hours of the day, that's the goal. Your attention is the product. I mean, the people who don't believe this are the same human capital that the industry that I used to work in benefited the most from. And it is dark to understand that prolonging suffering is actually a good business model in terms of making profits. But when you see an entire newsroom almost smiling from something tragic that happens because that means that they can do extended live broadcast coverage of that situation, then it's really hard to unsee the system that we live in any other way. And I know that sounds rich coming from me. Like, I make videos talking about the unemployment crisis, layoffs, how bad the economy is, how worthless our money is, wage stagnation, and who's really pulling the strings. And that's why I'm saying that retardmaxxing does not equal apathy. It does not equal a lack of care. I mean, the best philosophers of time are retards. They only cared about one thing, and that was understanding. And that's kind of what made them so great. They lived a life of such confusion, but throughout it, they spent time focusing on the material things that they saw every day, the condition of the people living amongst them, the quality of leadership that was guiding them, and the overall purpose of what it means to live a full life. So even though we do talk about headlines on this channel, I try to make them things that affect your personal life and that you can hope to see meaningful change on, because the actual conspiracies are going on right in front of your eyes. They're not the aliens, they're not the virus that's coming, they're literally how you operate day to day. The way your job is structured is a conspiracy. The way our healthcare system rips off everybody but the people at the top is a conspiracy. The fluoride in your tap water is a conspiracy. The quality of the quote-unquote food that we eat every day is a conspiracy. But the system is designed to ignore all of this and chase the big shadowy picture, so you ignore what you're actually fighting for. As dire as everything seems, I feel like we're closer to actually winning than we've ever been before. More people are waking up the reality of the falsehoods of the world that we live in, and they're throwing all these distractions to get you to do exactly that, be distracted. The bread in the circus is at all-time highs because people are fed up. People can't afford to drive to the grocery store, let alone buy the food that's in the grocery store. And when the other side is panicking, throwing every dart on the wall to see if it sticks, then you know you're doing something right. So now is not the time to become apathetic or stop caring about the world around you and give in to the doom that you feel. Again, it is time to retard max, because if you do not hyper focus on something and stop overthinking all the little details on how you're going to make it and just start working on how to make it, then you're going to fall into the trap that they want you to be in. They want you to be paralyzed. They want you to feel like you can't change anything. I mean, why discuss a better future if you're never going to accomplish it? Why show up to a city council meeting in your local area if you don't matter? Why protest? Why try? This thinking and narrative that has taken over the politically based side of the internet is not enlightenment at all. It does nothing more than make you a useful idiot for the people that you think that you're exposing. Information is either the most powerful tool you will ever wield and obtain, or it can be the fastest way to derail the train that is your life. You can either choose to be aware or apathetic. And the worst part of all this that I'm seeing, and why I'm telling you to hyper focus and not pay attention to the noise, is because I'm seeing people make fun of the ones that are actually trying. They're trying to make fun of the ones that are actually meeting, organizing, showing up, and making their voice be heard. Like, how are you going to clown someone for wanting change? Even if you're not willing to show up, you cannot discredit the next man for actually showing up. I guess what I'm trying to say is, just because the world you know is shifting at a rapid pace doesn't mean you have to throw your hands up. The shift is when the most change can happen. And if you choose to not participate in the things that are happening, then whatever change comes out of that is not something that you can be angry about later. It's a trap that you were willing to just walk straight into. And if you are okay with walking into the trap, then just don't pull the people around you down with you. I see this happening at all-time record highs with men. There's really not many role models to turn to. The ones that are placing themselves as role models are not really worthy of that title, in my opinion, and they really lead you to the skewed worldview that corruption is good, evil is actually not bad, and you should be hateful. And even though this ideology makes a lot of men sad and throw away their lives to gamble or, other things, we subscribe to them because we don't know any other way. You don't have to be selfish. You don't have to be nonchalant to the point that you're checked out. And it's not cringy to care about things, to have passions, to have emotions, and to have real feelings that are, bigger than a 2D surface. But the longer you let the mind control of mainstream media and all these different platforms hijack your brain and your thought process, then you're willing to submit to these people. So instead of doing that, retard max, hyper focus, stop overthinking, chase something even if you're told you're stupid for chasing it. If that's a high score in a video game, do that. If that's learning how to garden, do that. All of that is better than paying attention to the aliens or caring about this cruise ship or refreshing your social media feed until you see the end of the world be announced. Put that energy into something that can actually help you grow or help you find some purpose. And look, if the apocalypse does come, at least you'll have spent your last days focusing on things that matter to you, the people that you care about, the hobbies and the passion that you find interest in, something tangible and real that makes you feel something, rather than refreshing Reddit or X. I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't let the problems of today cloud what could be such a beautiful tomorrow. I don't know, I probably sound hyper blue pill to whoever watches this video, and you probably assume that I was a doomer and I did not subscribe to any hope. I have a lot of hope. I think that we're on the precipice of a lot of change, positive change. It doesn't have to be all the bad Planeteer change, but it has to be us willing willing to stand up for that change. If you agree or disagree, let me know down below in the comments. I do read the comments. Do you think being hopeful is worth it, or are we cooked? Do you think that the aliens will be used as some form of bargaining chip to send even more money to Israel? If you haven't already, like and subscribe to join the channel and to make sure my dog gets a treat. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Until next time.